Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. The GT Counter podcast has arrived once again as Grayson just got zoinked off the screen. So that's fun, but we'll get that situated here as he hops back in. My name is Tyler. Good to be with you as always. First time in like a year. It's good to be back. It is very good to be back. We've got a good weekend. Grayson is back. Thank goodness. Once he gets back in, we'll put him back on the screen. Lovely start to the pod. But yeah, we've got a fun little week one recap, which we will get into. Notre Dame, Texas, both of our teams lost, which is great, great fun. But beyond that, you've got Bill Belichick, North Carolina getting beat. You've got Clemson losing to LSU. I mean, Bama. I mean, we could talk about Bama for an entire podcast. There's Grayson. Back in he comes. Sorry, you got zoinked off the stage there for a minute. I don't know what happened there.
It had kicked me out completely. So we're back and loaded, I think.
Yeah, we should be good to go.
As long
So
as the internet is gonna work.
never know.
Yeah, it's very spotty. Very spotty.
Well, let's go ahead and start this thing off. Last night, the Monday night game, North Carolina got their doors blown off by TCU. I think it was like 48-14. So it was not a very competitive game after the first half. It was a 13-point game at half, and then it didn't get any closer than that. I think maybe the funniest thing I saw this entire game, though, coming out of it was the how many Super Bowls could Sonny Dykes win if Bill Belichick won 6 and Sonny's team just beat Bill by 30. So I think probably that was the most fun takeaway that I had from the game. But Gray, I don't know if you had anything from it. I mean, there just wasn't much to go off of there out of that game. It was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, it was a rough game. I didn't watch a whole lot of it, but it's interesting to watch Bill Belichick come out and all the hype behind him, and then watch them get their doors absolutely freaking blown off. It's just bad, and against TCU too. When you got a furry on the squad, there's just no way I can root for you. Um, so I was Bill all the way yesterday, and he just let us down.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not good, especially when, and we'll get to it in a minute, was one of his longtime assistants and Matt Patricia absolutely had a day. So I don't know. It's good. The talent on that roster, they should be thankful that their schedule is as easy as it is because, my goodness, that roster is not very good at all.
Well, is North Carolina's schedule really that bad now after watching all these ACC teams perform? I mean, Virginia blew the doors off of Coastal. Are they just the worst team in the country, or is Virginia like that? I mean, with the performance we saw last night, North Carolina could lose to
They
Virginia.
very well
I
could.
mean,
I wouldn't be
it's like
surprised.
it's the problem is the bottom half. Uh, it's that bottom half of the ACC is just really bad this year. It's really really bad. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and luckily for you, Notre Dame gets to draw like several ACC teams this year, so at least you got that going for you, which is a good segue here because Sunday night, the main event, Notre Dame at Miami, number 6 at number 10. And I kind of just will high level this thing and I'll let you get into more of the weeds of it. But 27-24, Miami comes out on top. It was a well fought game. It was not the cleanest game in the world, but uh, Miami's defense may be better than I expected. Notre Dame's offense, not quite there yet. Maybe some play calling had something to do with that. But, first time for CJ Carr to get a start. It went fine. This loss isn't going to hurt them at the end of the year, but it's a weird scheduling quirk with a bye week and then Texas A&M right on deck. So I don't know. I'll let you kind of get into this and kind of where you see Notre Dame going from here. But me personally, I'm not going to overreact to one game in this case. More on that again later. But I think Notre Dame will be fine, and I won't be so quick to anoint Miami as the next big thing.
Yeah, it was interesting. That's for sure. I know we talked a lot during the game, and I was not a happy camper at all. Mike Denbrock, he thrives with the running quarter. He's your pocket passer kind of guy, which was kind of the reason there was this whole argument about whether he was going to be the starting quarterback in camp or if he was if Minchie was the guy or who was going to be the guy. And then you pick Shay Carr, and he's your guy because you want to throw the ball downfield, and then he averages 3.8 yards per attempt. I mean, it was really, really mind boggling to me that they kept him on such a short leash on how far he was going to throw the ball when that's the reason he was playing. If you're going to try to keep him on a leash and get him composed and get a feel for the game, then you would have ran the ball more. That was very apparently didn't happen at all. Um, Miami probably thinks they contained Jeremiah Love. 6 of his 10 carries were on the goal line. I mean, it just it blows my mind. It really blew my mind. I was not happy. Um, Miami came out in that they run a lot of cover two shell, so it's hard to hit the deep ball. But so I mean, I understand why Mike Denbrock went for a lot of short passes and tried the RPO game, and maybe CJ Carby and Young ran a lot of those RPOs and threw the ball instead of handing them off. So you don't know everything until you know. You're not in the locker room, you're not on the field, you're not calling the plays. So you don't know everything that's happening. I know that Miami is getting um, I mean, quarterback play for CJ Carr was among the best of rookie players out in an away game, first game of the year. Never thrown a pass in a collegiate football game. Was, probably among, I mean, I would probably say one of the top performers of the weekend for a rookie quarterback. Um, but, I mean, all around, it's just sloppy play call. We didn't run the ball enough with potentially the best back in college football. And defensively, we ran a whole lot of man coverage and didn't bring it behind it. And have a 260-pound defensive tackle play start at 2-eye at your 2 tech, and he's just getting pile driven every single play. So why are you Notre Dame and have a 260-pound DT play in a game? That makes entirely no sense. But yeah, he got 300 pounds. I mean, goodness gracious, Florida had 440 last year. I mean, surely we can find one, right? But yeah, I mean that's how I feel on it. I think Carson Beck played a pretty remotely good game. I wouldn't say he played spectacular. I think he played a good game for his first long. And Miami gets JoJo Trader back from injury, and he'll be at full blow and go. I think this offense can be very dangerous because that O line is very good. And between JoJo Trader and oh gosh, Tony, guys, I mean, they're going to have a spectacular receiving game. And I mean, it was very apparent they could sled dog you up front and run the ball up the middle. Um, I know a lot of podcast analysts are saying Miami's the best team in the ACC. Um, they're a playoff team, no doubt, no question. They're going to win the ACC. They looked better than Clemson. I don't think they did. Veteran quarterback. They have a lot of connections rolling. I think that Miami's ceiling is going to be reached at about week 5 or week 6, where a lot of these teams aren't going to see their ceiling in 8 or week 9. I just think Miami's just a little bit farther ahead than everybody else is. So I don't know what your thought on that. But
I mean, it's hard for me to get really all the way there with Miami as of right now, just because, it is one game sample size and Notre Dame had so much new with being a new DC, uh, and then new quarterback, things like that. And then clearly Denbrock didn't trust him. They didn't open up the offense hardly at all. So it was tough to really get a gauge on what they were trying to do there. And the confusing part for me, and you kind of touched on it, Jeremiah Love just didn't touch the football. Like, how is he not going to touch the ball in a game like this? And as Grayson gets zoinked off the screen again, we might have to get this fixed in a future episode. We might just have to take this thing back offline. But I can kind of ramble here while he gets situated. So the way that really confused me about what Notre Dame was doing, it's like Jeremiah Love is the best running back in college football, arguably. And how are we going to hand him the ball 15 times max? It's just not sustainable as an offense. So I don't know quite what to do there. Let me respond to Grayson real quick. There we go. That's good podcasting right there. But, I just find it hard to believe that this is going to be Notre Dame's finished product. I think that as they go, and maybe I don't know what to expect next week when A&M comes to town to South Bend for a week 3 matchup. That's like Notre Dame's first 2 matchups are Miami with Corey Heatherman now as their DC, and obviously he got that ship turned around because 24 points to that team is pretty good work. And then you've got Mike Elko's defense walking into South Bend. And granted, home game will be much, much more different than on the road at Miami when you actually have a Miami crowd that's engaged and interested. So I don't know. I'm just not going to overreact to week 1s, which means I'm going to be okay on Notre Dame. I'm going to be okay on Miami. I just don't think they're going to be as elite as some people think they are. And I think both teams will be there at the end. Miami probably maybe on the outside looking in, and I think Notre Dame will be pretty safe as we get to it. But obviously, Notre Dame will improve, and I think Miami probably will as the year goes as well. Let me pivot into my team. The Texas Longhorns walk into the shoe, Lee Corso's final game. How awesome was that, by the way? You got Lee Corso making his final headgear pick. And of course, it ends just like how it started with him taking the Buckeyes. I loved the little thing that he was doing with, poor old Ohio State. Nobody's giving them a chance. They've got a Manning at quarterback at Texas. And, he's just doing the whole bit and wind him up. And you knew where he was going. He was going to put Brutus Buckeye's head on. And sure enough, he did. It turned out to be the right pick. It did, even though, you kind of go into some of the game stuff and Ohio State's post-game win expectancy by Bill Connolly on ESPN there, who does SP Plus and things like that. It's like 18%. Like Texas kind of box score wise dominated the game. If you have a win probability of 82% post-game, you should win that ball game. So missed opportunity for Texas, and it all starts right where the issue has been for the better part of the Sarkisian tenure at Texas, minus the Bijan and Roshan year. It's the red zone. The red zone has been a struggle, and it continues to be a struggle. 0-2 in this game. Is some of that luck? Potentially. But I think at a certain point, you also make your own luck. I've been a proponent of that. And it just, I didn't like some of the play calling, especially in the red zone, but more so as a whole on the game plan early. I thought it was vanilla. So when you open up the game, you get Arch out in space on a rollout, and he short hops DeAndre Moore by about 6 yards. So that was not all that good of a start. There's Gray Man back in action. Yes,
the Chinese fire drilled right there. I had to switch computers.
Get the troops fired up, get them out in space. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we had to come up with a new game plan, something Mike Denbrock didn't do.
It's something Sark didn't do either.
Yeah, it's just, oh, goodness gracious. Oh.
So the red zone issues are still an issue for Texas, and that is obviously concerning. Even with Arch being a runner, not being able to punch it in at the goal line even once, it changed the game. It did, because that Texas defense played well enough to win. I mean, they held Jeremiah Smith to 6 catches for 40-something yards. It's impressive work. The last 2 times that Jeremiah Smith has played Texas, he had 1 catch for 3 yards and 6 catches for like 40. I mean, the Texas defense is something serious. So they got to get the red zone figured out. And I'm not too terribly worried about Arch. I think they're going to be okay. But obviously, game 1 out of the box, you go to a tough environment, just like Notre Dame did. You got to give them credit for going and playing that game. I'm not going to ding either team too terribly much. And, it just kind of, it's a tough loss. It shrinks your margin a little bit. But at the end of the day, I don't think of either Notre Dame or Texas any differently than I did beforehand. In my opinion of Miami and Ohio State also hasn't really changed that much either. I think they're both pretty dang good. So I know you watched Texas a little bit. What'd you think of them?
I think Arch is getting a lot of is getting beat up and just tore up on social media. I've seen enough of the Shane Gillis memes. I've seen the meme where the little kid's in the stroller and he's holding the horns down and it's Arch's picture now. I've seen enough of it, man. That is, you're playing, I mean, blatantly honest, the best secondary in the country. But, some would argue the best defense in the whole entire country. Definitely by far the best secondary in the country. The number 1 player in the country at safety. I mean, he'll win the defensive player of the year. So it's a tough environment, tough first game for him. Texas gets 3 really easy games here, back to back to back. Arch is going to get his footing. He's going to be perfectly fine. I'm not worried about Texas in week 1. I'm just not. And Texas losing to Ohio State by 1 touchdown on the road in the season opener doesn't define who Texas is. I mean, everybody's acting like it was a demoralizing loss, and Ohio State beat them 49-7, and it looked like the 2012 national championship when Notre Dame played Alabama. No, it wasn't a demoralizing loss at all. It was 7 points. The game was in Texas's hands to win at the end, and if they don't get stopped on a QB sneak, the game probably sees overtime. So yeah, no, I'm not too worried about Texas, and they got an easy schedule the next 3 games. There's a lot to build on. Everybody knows the biggest thing about playing offense is every year it's a different team, and until you have confidence offensively that you can score, it's the most impossible thing to do in the world is to score. Once you build that confidence that you can score every time the ball's in your hands, it's a snowball effect. The snowball is rolling right down the hill. So that's just how it is.
And I think it's funny. I think people have that perception that Texas got obliterated because it was 14-7. If this game was 28-21 and it was a 1 touchdown game, I think people are like, well fought game. It was good, low scoring defensive battle still, but turned out okay. But since it was 14-7 and Texas was sitting on 0 for about 2.5 hours of actual game time, I think everybody's just kind of blowing it up into something more than it probably is. And granted, Arch played terrible. Sark didn't have a good game plan. They were still driving to tie the game with a minute left. Like, they played like literal crap for 2.5 hours of our lives and had the ball with 2 minutes left going to tie the game. So they're going to be okay.
The biggest problem is how hyped up Arch got all preseason long. If you didn't say, if Arch was a normal person with a normal last name and he wasn't a preseason Heisman candidate, he wouldn't have been hyped up this way, and then everybody would have been like, "Oh, he just had a bad game. Oh, he just didn't play to the standard. He'll be back." You know what I mean? But because he's Arch Manning, because of his last name, it was inevitable. If he didn't throw for 400 yards, he was the worst player in the world. I mean, it just was. And I mean, Klubnik doesn't get the slander this guy got, and he played like junk. So it's a tough position for the kid to be in. I know he's a humble guy, and I hope he can let this go by him, stay off of social media this week, and then tear up. Are they playing UTEP this week? They're playing somebody bad.
They're playing San Jose. They're playing Coach Ken.
Oh God! Well,
who just lost to Central Michigan.
San Jose might come out hot after somebody got killed last week on kickoff.
Yeah,
they had a funeral on the field for the kid. It was horrible.
Reed, the only boat that will be rowed to Alabama is, well, not PJs. So I think UCLA might be interested again, though. But I think Clemson LSU is the next one that we should probably hit.
Okay.
Night game, Battle of Death Valleys. It's another kind of low-scoring slugfest type deal, and it's kind of a grimy, grindy football game. LSU hasn't won an opener since Joe Burrow was going to Louisiana State University. They finally get off the snide. Your boy Brian Kelly. God, don't you love when good things happen to good people?
Well, you see, here's the deal. This LSU team is different than the LSU teams that he's had for the last 4 years. This team, the defense is outstanding. But offensively, I mean, Nussmeier, what's going on? I mean, every game we saw last year, they let Nussmeier air that ball out, and he was 4.4 yards on average for a completion. I mean, Brian Kelly decided that he was no longer big game Brian; he was small ball Brian. And
little game James.
Yeah, I mean, what is going on? And I understand that a lot of Nussmeier throwing the ball quickly had to do with Clemson has an absolute animal at defensive tackle. I don't know how they continue to get a freak in the defensive tackle position, but Peter Woods is an absolute game wrecker. And if you're playing against Clemson, I pray for your center's butt because he's going right through his mouth and right out his hole. So, just brutally honest with you, he is a game-wrecking machine.
Yeah, it was both defenses. Color me impressed with the LSU defense. They were kind of trash last year. Also, nice little shouts there from Reed. That's kind of funny.
Not from my closet, Reed. Actually, my in-laws are staying with us, so there's a little bit of storage behind us. But it would have been cool to have you on the podcast, Reed. But we figured your ball knowledge was a little bit small ball, so we needed to step our game up a little bit.
So, I mean, Harold Perkins looked good again, which is good. Last year before he got hurt, he looked like he was out of place, wasn't really flying around all that much. They had him all over the field. Maybe he's just healthier this year coming off that surgery. But, God, he looked impressive. Whit Weeks was good. And everything just looked more buttoned up. LSU was bringing pressure from all over the place. They were getting home to Klubnik. You could just tell, like, they were more comfortable in the system, and they were able to put Clemson in a body bag during that second half, man. It was – I worry about Clemson maybe more than any of the other big-name teams who lost to top 10 opponents, just because we've seen this now 4 straight games where they've scaled up, and they got obliterated by Georgia twice. Then they lost to South Carolina. Then they lost to Texas. Then they lose to LSU at home. That's 5 games of scaling up, and they haven't been close to winning any of them. So maybe it's a Dabo thing, portal, high school. Maybe they're topped out. Maybe it's just early season growth. Maybe this Clemson team is different. Klubnik's going to be good. It's interesting. I think they have a really high floor. I don't know what their ceiling is, though.
I think defensively, this team is pretty good. I mean, especially D line wise. Clemson's D line is solid. Um, the DBs are a little bit lackluster, but this offense, I mean, the offense very similar to what you saw out of Notre Dame. The play calling was not great. They didn't move the ball well at all. Do you credit LSU's defense? Yes, absolutely. Their defense was very solid, a lot better than Miami's defense, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I think Klubnik will obviously get on track. He's a great quarterback, so he'll get on track. It's just a matter of how fast can he get on track. I mean, this Clemson team is a scary team to like because they're liable to drop a game in the ACC to somebody they shouldn't lose to.
Yeah,
that's just. I mean, don't let Pittsburgh come into town again. I mean, keep them the heck away. And they're liable.
It's kind of nasty.
Yeah, they're liable to lose to Louisville this year because Miller Moss is the man
in Louisville too. So that's definitely a losable game. Plus, they got South Carolina at the end. Like,
yeah, and Lenora Sellers was doing Lenora Sellers things. So,
yeah, Virginia Tech is just what an abomination of a program. How far they've fallen from the Beamer ball days.
Oh gosh, I really expected them to be decent this year too. It's quite a shame.
Brent Pryde needs to go.
Yeah,
I will say so. Neither team ran the ball well in this game. I mean, LSU, I guess, ran it better. They averaged 3.5 yards carry. Clemson had 31 rushing yards. It's not good. So, I mean, I think the LSU O line is going to be okay. This will be one of the better D lines they face during the year, and I know they play SEC competition. Clemson's front seven is serious, so I'll give them credit for hanging in there. They kept Nuss upright for the most part. Only 1 sack for 12 yards, and we can live with that against this front.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Shall we talk some Bama?
We can talk. We can rock Bama. I'd love to talk about Alabama. Goodness gracious.
Oh my goodness! So they roll into Tallahassee, 14-point favorites against a 2-10 team from last year. And I don't know if I'll go with get their doors blown off, but it was pretty close. I mean, 31-17. And at one point, Bama allowed, I think it was 24 straight points. Yeah. To go from up 7-0 to down 24-7. And I got to give credit to Gus Malzahn, the Gus Bus, and Tommy Castellanos. That they ran the absolute piss out of the ball. And in the rain and kind of the sloppy field, they did all sorts of motion and handoffs, and the quarterback had to be pretty spot on with their ball handling. It wasn't quite SNU with, triple option from the gun, but there was a lot going on there. And to not turn it over, Castellanos ran it for over 100, threw it well. Granted, he only threw it 14 times. But I think the main takeaway is definitely on the Bama side of things. So first things first, anything Florida State-wise, because I just have to give them a ton of credit for the way they played.
I mean, my biggest thing watching that game is how masterclass does Castellanos play in that game? I mean, because it's so difficult to walk up there and make a perfect read every single time. And from a viewing perspective, I don't know if he missed a read all game. I mean, he made every single read perfectly the whole entire game. And I mean, it was a masterclass on offense to watch. It was incredible. Bama's defense was so thrown into a loop because they didn't know who was going to get the ball. It was awesome. I mean, it was as close to watching just when Texas played last year and all they did was motion every single play and throw off the defense. It was like watching that, except for here comes Wing T too. It was amazing. It really was.
And all of it, because I was high on UCF last year when Gus was there as their head coach, and they had KJ Jefferson and RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's a pro, and he's going to get a lot of burn in the NFL. And KJ was an absolute tank. And for them to be as bad as they were, they probably just quit at a certain point. But that's why I was so high on them, because they run this offense with a tank back there and 3 good running backs. Like, it was set up to be something special. And then obviously he resigns, goes to FSU, and I mean, now it's just incredible what they did in that first game. And there's no real threat of a slip up here, because their next 2 games are East Texas A&M, who used to be A&M Commerce,
Yep.
who is an abomination of an FCS program these days, but they just transitioned up from D2. So it is what it is. And then Kent State, who might be the worst FCS or FBS team in the country. So Florida State's going to not bang their head here, which is probably a good thing for them. But yeah, it was impressive. And then Florida State's defense was obviously pretty good too. Which I guess is now our point where we get into Bama. Ty Simpson's not going to be long for that job. They brought in a 5-star Keelan Russell, who is going to be an absolute freakazoid. I would not be surprised if they unleashed him at some point. They need some extra juice back there with, and Ty Simpson was fine, but he's just your check down. He's the check down king, check down Charlie, whatever you want to call it, dump off dude. I mean, he's just gonna check the ball down, and with a receiving core like that, you need more of a threat. And I think Keelan's probably going to bring that, but I don't know. I mean, Bama's effort wise, and you, like Reed kind of mentioned, you see DeBoer go into a weird presser where he gets pressed on kind of the game prep, and he goes back and forth with this reporter. It's just strange. It's just very strange vibes. They fall to 21st in the AP poll. I don't know, man. Could get weird.
Were you watching this game? I think the biggest take that I had from it was either Caden Proctor had a really bad game, or Darrell Jackson Jr. is about to be a top 10 pick. I mean, he was on. I mean, he lived damn near unblockable in that first half. Second half, Proctor had some good blocks, had a lot more wins, but that first half of football, after that first drive of the game, Darrell Jackson just said, "I'm your dad, and I'm taking over," and he just took over. And it was, I mean, Bama's offensive line was not. I was saying this when they came out on the field. I was like, man, they got a lot of dudes that just look sloppy built. Like, they don't look like Bama's normal offensive line. Like, the picture of the Georgia offensive line where they're all fresh out the sauna. That's what Bama's offensive line looks like every year. And this year they looked like a stack of pudding cups. I mean, they did not look what Bama's offensive line always looks like. So I don't know. My real question for you, Etzel, is FSU that good, or is Bama just that not Bama quality?
Is this Texas Notre Dame from a few years ago, the Texas is back folks game, where Texas went 5-7 and Notre Dame went 4-8?
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I think that FSU is good. Are they good enough to win the ACC? I think that will come, and we'll be able to tell more. But I just don't think Bama's competitive this year. I just don't. And I definitely don't think they're competitive if Ty Simpson's the quarterback.
I was about to say, if it's this quarterback, I don't think they are, because they have to go to Georgia here in a couple weeks, and they have their usual assortment of rivals. We'll talk about Auburn. They beat the absolute piss out of Baylor. So, I mean, you look.
One other thing. Are you worried about Ryan Williams? He had the KT tape on the back of his hamstring. He wasn't playing well. Really didn't seem like he was getting open, kind of getting clamped.
And then he got the lights turned out on him, so he's concussed to top it all off.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, basically every way you could be concerned about Alabama, I am concerned about Alabama. From the quarterback to the receivers, offensive line. I mean, you've got all sorts of concerns on the offense. And then you look at the defense, and you saw the big clip of 18 who was just jogging in pursuit to go get it. And of course, he loses the angle and the guy scores a touchdown. So they've got lots of problems there. I can tell you none of that would fly with Saban. Absolutely none of it would fly. They would still be running from after that game.
Yeah. Saban was definitely hot if he was coaching. They would have had 2-a-day practice on Memorial Day because there was no class.
Yeah. And I do think this point is interesting. So Ryan Williams was in the slot a ton. I think he can operate there, but he needs a threat outside to kind of, if he's going to operate in the slot, he needs a threat outside to keep the, like your number one type corner off of him. Like I get what Bama's doing because you can try to move your number one around. Reed knows this as the receiver guy. Like if you're going to move your number one around, it's because you're going to try to get him off some coverage. But if there's no other guy out there you're afraid of, the guy's just going to follow him or they're going to roll coverage over and, you can neutralize it. So I don't know if that's just a week one thing or kind of what the deal is there. I do like Bama's receiving core a bit. Like they've got some good dudes out there, but with Ryan Williams not being a part of it, and I would imagine they hold him out this week just to be careful. I mean, they're playing Monroe for God's sake. So unless we get a 2007 repeat where they lose to Monroe again, then I'll be real concerned. But they'll probably hold him out and he'll be okay. But they do have some issues there.
I think they're just lucky they're not having USF this week like last year. I think USF would kind of give them the business right now. Mobile quarterback is Bama's worst nightmare.
Is the winner of the American going to be the favorite to get that playoff spot for the G5? That's USF, Tulane, Memphis, although I'm not all that high on Memphis or Tulane this year. UTSA, who gave A&M a game for a minute.
Yeah.
Backdoor cover there for them. Very nice job by them. Throwing a touchdown pass with they were running the ball. They're down 25. They were getting like 23 points. They're running the ball out. They call a random late timeout with like 25 seconds left. Backup quarterbacks in, backups all over the place. They come out of the huddle. This dude throws a beautiful goal line fade and he freaking scores a touchdown with like 15 seconds left to get to cover town. So some boosters there in San Antonio probably awfully happy with that. But I think UTSA is pretty good. I think USF is an absolute wagon, though. If Byron Brown can stay healthy, they are going to run over some teams. But they have two big games because they play Florida and Miami in back-to-back weeks here coming up. They need to stay healthy. I would almost rather them just not play anybody. Just punt these next two. You're not going to get in anyways. You're not probably going to win these games, although they might give Florida a game. They might give Miami a game too, but they're not going to probably win one. Just stay healthy for conference play because that kid is an absolute freak in the backfield.
Yeah, I think that they have to be a favorite to get in the 12 of the 12 teams. Outside of them, maybe you look at UNLV, but I don't know if UNLV looked that impressive.
They don't have the defense.
Yeah, and Fresno State's dead. They're way out the picture. So I don't know.
Yeah, the other contenders, would it be? I mean, I guess Boise technically still.
Do we like anybody in Conference USA?
I mean, Liberty, but they lost Salter, and we can. Colorado, Dion still can't manage a clock. The end of that game, did you see the end of that?
Yes.
Where he ended the game with 2 timeouts in his pocket because he just let the clock run.
They deserve to lose that game. When Georgia Tech had 3 turnovers to start that game, and you only can convert on one of those 3, you genuinely deserve to lose the game. And that's all I needed to see to know that Colorado is not worth anything.
Did you see that Georgia Tech punt return where the guy was wearing like the 4XL jersey and he goes to field the punt and this dude just grabs this jersey and whips him around like a rag doll?
I did see that. I actually did see that.
Brent Key at the press conference today goes, "You will never see that jersey again."
Oh gosh! Are there?
By the way, South Florida is the second favorite to win the American behind Tulane. So big jump for South Florida.
What about the Sun Belt? South Alabama, maybe.
James Madison's probably the one there.
Okay, JMU, App State.
Good win against Charlotte. Charlotte's trash though.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you who will not be winning it. Coastal Carolina. They'll be lucky to finish above. They'll be lucky to make a bowl game after the performance they put on the other night. Oh my goodness gracious!
Me and Reed were talking about taking their win total under. I didn't quite get there, but yeah, that's an abomination of a program at the moment.
Yeah, it's just bad. Just bad.
A couple other week 1 things I wanted to hit. Army lost to SCS Tarleton, the pride of Stephenville, Texas, down here. I've taken great pride in, just like I told you last year when Notre Dame beat both Army and Navy, I've taken great pride in telling all the Tarleton fans that they hate America and disrespected the troops. So gotten some good reactions out of that.
They hate the troops. And they hate everybody's parlay too. Goodness gracious.
Exactly.
That was
Selling parlays. Some other notable week ones that I had noted down here. We already talked about South Carolina a little bit. Sellers, still a dog. They had a punt return in that game for a touchdown. That was kind of the icing on the cake there. Killed me as I had Virginia Tech in that game, so that one hurt. But nonetheless, we move on. Oklahoma State's quarterback got hurt, Haas Haney, which means they're on to Zane Flores again. They are 4 touchdown underdogs at Oregon this weekend. So good luck to Mike Gundy and the boys. Going to be dangerous up there in Stillwater this weekend for all the state fans.
Can we talk about the greatest play I've ever seen in my life?
I would love to.
Michigan, New Mexico, 4th and 1, snaps the ball in between their quarterback's legs. They run QB sneak. Running back skips the ball back to him. He catches it, jumps up in the air. Tim Tebow jump pass right to the tight end over the top. Incredible. I mean, it was an incredible play. You love to see a small school team do that to Michigan in Ann Arbor. That's hilarious.
Couldn't have practiced it any better. It was just perfect. Like nobody back there, just easy money.
I'm hoping they put it into the NCAA playbook on NCAA 26 or 25. I'm really hoping.
We need that. We need that because we need some more goal line creativity on that game.
We do.
But we know where it is. It's Power L. Is what it is.
Other notable game is Kansas State dead? Or they're dead, right?
If the father hasn't killed the son already, then yeah.
Yeah. Preston Stone was the starter for Kansas State? Is that
Preston Stone's at Northwestern. It was still Avery.
Oh, yep. No. Northwestern's dead. Northwestern's dead too. He threw 4 picks, didn't he?
That Northwestern, they might not win a football game. They might not win one.
That was bad. Yeah.
I can't wait for the Lakefront Stadium again. Their little cracker box up there on the lake that's got like 8,000 seats. I would love to go to a game there. I know they're terrible, but I'd pay good money to go to that Lakefront Stadium in September.
Oh yeah. Where are you at? I know you watched a lot of the Oklahoma game, or at least some of the Oklahoma game until Clemson LSU came on.
They didn't look all that good. I'm worried about the offensive line. I'm willing to give Bedenbaugh some benefit of the doubt. And we were in that group chat, and you've got all the OU homers who are like, oh, this is great. It's like, is it? I would argue it's not. I think you should be more impressive against an FCS school. 35-3, I think, was the final, which it's fine. We're not going to learn it. They probably kept it super vanilla, but I don't know, which I guess this is a good time to get into some week 2 stuff.
That's where
game of the week is going to be Michigan at OU. OU is like a 5.5, 6-point favorite at home.
Yep.
I personally, and this is the only reason I would think of this, not because I think OU is some juggernaut team. Obviously, I just kind of said that they didn't impress me all that much week 1. But if you're going to get a true freshman in Bryce Underwood, who granted is an absolute freak of nature, his first ever road start, you just saw this with Arch last weekend. First ever road start on the road in a very, very tough environment. It's a tough ask. So I already have Oklahoma in this game. I think Oklahoma wins it and wins it probably fairly easily. But I'm not going to take a ton out of it just because of situation. And both of these teams are going to be pretty far from finished product. But I think OU's going to win the game. I will say, though, if Michigan does keep it close or win it, it'll tell me a whole lot more about Michigan than it will about Oklahoma. Because if Michigan wins this game, we've got some problems on our hands in the Big Ten. Because say what you will about the Oklahoma offense, that defense is still pretty serious. And if Michigan is able to put up points here, we might have a Michigan problem again.
I think this game is going to be very low scoring. Um, I think Michigan is going to give them all sorts of problems up front. I would imagine Mateer will be scrambling for his life um, in a lot of situations. And I think Oklahoma might have, you talk about Ohio State having the best defense. I think Oklahoma probably has the best defense in the SEC, maybe the second best outside of Texas. Um, but I think their defense is up there. They're incredible at the linebacker position, incredible at the corner position. They said they have 5 corners that could start anywhere in the country on that team right now. So they're good. I mean, OU is very good on defense, and it shows that they were one of 3 teams in the SEC that didn't let up a touchdown this past week. I know they played Illinois State, but still, nonetheless, no touchdown allowed. So,
yeah, and the total in this game is like 45.5, 46. So you're looking, they're 5-point favorite. So you're looking at like 25-20 is kind of like a expected final. That feels about right.
Yeah, I'm smoking the under on this.
I would still probably take the under too. It feels like 17-10.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Very much an NFL final score. So
one thing we didn't hit earlier, and now that we talked about 17-14 had me thinking about kickers. Can we talk really quick about LSU's kicker shanking the field goal, faking the injury on the spot, like he just tore his ACL in his leg? That's just the most classic soccer player thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, just bad.
I couldn't believe it. When he walked back out there to kick again, I was like, oh, I thought he was dead. Thought they were going to have to take him out on a stretcher.
I was like, he just tore every ligament in his leg. I literally saw him land and plant, and I was like, oh, he just tore his ACL. He's done. Hopefully they got a backup. He comes prancing back out on the field. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way.
I've seen miracles performed. I mean, it's incredible. The showmanship. You got to hand it to him. Like that's impressive work.
LSU must have had Mr. Miyagi in the back with some mothballs and some cups, and he just got the leg fired back up. Even Danielson could kick after
that. And then speaking of kickers again, golly, we're on a kicker tangent here. Bert Auburn, formerly of Texas, transfers to Miami. Does not win the job because this FAU kicker who went 4 for 11 last year beat him out in camp. Poor Bert. Yeah. I just feel for the guy.
Just the poor get poorer, man. It's just poverty central out there.
Oh, whenever it was, first off, I didn't even know he transferred to Miami. That was news to me. And then second off, when they tell me that he lost the job to an FAU kicker, I damn near fell over in my chair.
Oh, gosh. I saw the stats when that guy came out on the field, and he was 4 for 11 last year at FAU, and I was like, so Miami said, yeah, this is our guy? It's like, there's no way.
And then his first ever college attempt, they bowl the snap back there to him, and it's a fire drill.
And it's very apparent that Miami has not been practicing any fire drills on their staff. Their special teams coordinator should be fired because they had enough time to throw a goal line fade there.
Yeah, he had no pressure.
What's up with the holder just saying, "Yeah, I'm giving up. I'm running out of
bounds." We can't throw it up.
You go take one for the team, big fella.
Yeah, go make a play. This is your chance.
You got the ball in your hands, kid. Go rock.
Mario Cristobal, special teams. Him, special teams and game management. It's going to cost Miami a game again at some point. Luckily, it didn't cost them there. Unfortunately, for your sake, but
it almost did.
It almost did. Those 3 points were almost useful as Notre Dame's got the ball late.
Those 3 points and then running the ball 3 times in a row right there at the end of the game and giving Notre Dame a minute to go score, that almost should have cost him the game.
Yeah. In week 1, it might not, but if that game were to happen in December in a playoff, like very well might.
Yeah.
Very well might. Other games, week 2 that we've got James Madison at Louisville. That's a Friday nighter. If James Madison is what we think they are in the Sun Belt, they'll keep it close. But also Louisville can throw up some points with the best of them. Miller Moss might have a day. So we'll see there. Illinois at Duke is kind of a fun one early on Saturday. That's an 11 a.m.er. Duke didn't exactly look all that impressive against Elon. I mean, it was 45-17, but I looked up at one point and it was 10-10 in the mid, like near halftime. I was like, oh, that's a problem. So not sure what to think about Duke. Of course, Saturday being a national holiday, we've got El Asico, Iowa at Iowa State. Big game for everybody in Iowa. Big for the Cornheads. I mean, Iowa State won it last year on a late field goal. By the way, kicker again. Their kicker on last week against South Dakota hit a 63-yard field goal before half. Did you see that?
I did not. That is incredible, though.
College kicker, grass field in a game, 63. Just absolute bangarang.
Wow.
Probably had like 3 or 4 yards to spare, too. I was impressed.
I like it.
But it'll be Iowa's first test for the quarterback Gronowski, the transfer from, I think he was South Dakota State, if I remember correctly.
He was South Dakota State.
So will be interesting because Iowa State has played some very, very good defense to start the year. Obviously, they held K-State in check over there in Ireland, and then they just beat the absolute piss out of South Dakota, who is a very, very good FCS program. So would expect it to be, as God intended, a very low-scoring game. Iowa State's favored by about a field goal at home. It's a noon game, 11 a.m., which is a little tough. Would like that thing to be under the lights, but early lean, I'll say Iowa State wins. Think they go to 3-0, but would be willing to hear your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I saw a chart earlier today, and it was a quarterback chart based off of quarterback ratings, and I think the other one was yards per completion or something. It was a chart, and Iowa State's quarterback backed is at the very farthest top point of this chart. He is just playing fantastic football right now. I think Iowa State's going to be hard, and I think that front seven on Iowa State is an absolute menace and probably just as good as anybody's front seven in the country. And if we know anything about Iowa, we know they like to run the football, and this game is going to be El Asico. I mean, it's going to be very low scoring. And if there is a lot of scoring, it's because Iowa State decided they're going to blow the doors off them. So,
yeah, I can't wait for that one. It'll be a good time as always. And Reed, to answer your question, I don't know what gave it away. The last name, maybe. Baylor at SMU. Baylor, we didn't talk about it all that much. I think Auburn is still running the ball on them. I think funny enough, they just scored another touchdown. So Auburn is bad matchup. Baylor's front cannot fit a run to save their lives, which is going to be a problem against SMU. Kevin Jennings is able to run the football. They do have a good running game. That game, SMU's only favored by 2.5 at home. That line stinks. I'm just saying that Baylor's got a chance there. We'll see if their defense figures it out. I do generally trust Aranda, but we got problems early on because, Auburn just absolutely ran the ball down their throat and made them like it.
Yeah, that seemed like a very much so a JV defense that we saw out on the field. I'm really I liked Baylor to be a contender in the Big 12. And I still think they could be a contender in the Big 12 solely because I think the Big 12 looked awfully stinky this past weekend. Outside of Iowa State and Texas Tech, poor Arkansas Pine Bluff. Dear God, if you're an Arkansas Pine Bluff fan, it's a long season. I'm just telling you right now, it's a long year. But yeah, I still like Baylor maybe to be a contender, but I don't know. I'm nervous about them because defensively they are We talked about a very good front seven. We're talking about bottom tier front
Very
seven.
bad.
Very, very bad up front. Thank goodness they don't have to play Penn State at any point in time because it could be a gauntlet.
I think they get TCU here at some point too, and their secondary I was down on to begin the year. And if we learned anything about TCU over the years, Josh Hoover can sling the rock.
Yeah.
So potential Baylor could start 0-3, and I would just be very sad about that. But Texas State at UTSA will get a screen for no other reason than that's a fun rivalry that I like watching. So I'll have that one on. Ole Miss at Kentucky. This is a game that Ole Miss lost at home last year. Is about 3 touchdown favorites. The lefty they've got, Austin Simmons, absolutely can sling the pill, and Kentucky barely beat Toledo. So I'll give that one to Ole Miss, but we'll see. And then maybe one of the more underrated games of the day. You mentioned it. Kansas goes on the road to Missouri. The border war is back, and Kansas has looked pretty good. Jalen Daniels is healthy. They're running the damn ball. And Missouri, I mean, they've had a quarterback battle that reached into week 1, only for it to be decided when Sam Horn went off and his leg was in a full brace like mine was after Monticello. So I don't think his chances of playing this week are very good. So we're going to give that to Bo Papula there at quarterback. I think Kansas is live for an upset here. Would not be shocked at all.
This line at 6.5 is I feel like is very free. I think 6.5 is very free, and I think this Kansas team is super good. I mean, this Kansas team can go as far as Jaden Daniels can play. Yeah, his name's not Jaden Daniels. That's my fault. It is. Is it Jaden Daniels?
Jalen.
Close enough. Fault. That's the quarterback for the Washington. Yeah, that's on me. Anyways, this guy can go as this team can go as far as he plays. And if it's anything like any other season, he's good for about 6 games. But I mean, if he plays the whole season, they're liable to win the Big 12. I mean, I'm just going to be
absolutely.
They're good. So yeah, I love this. 6.5 seems really free to me as long as he plays all 4 quarters.
Weird road trip of the week. West Virginia is going to Ohio, not Ohio State, Ohio, the Bobcats. Big 12 going to the MAC. Very random one, strange one. West Virginia is only favored by 3.5 there. So upset alert potential abounds there. As we get into the nightcap, not a ton going on. North Carolina is going to Charlotte, formerly Biff Poggi in his sleeveless shirts. So that was no longer him, but fun road trip to imagine Bill Belichick in a like 14,000 capacity stadium. So that's fun. Army, who, as we noted, lost to Tarleton last week, goes to Kansas State, who, as we noted, almost lost to North Dakota last week. So a true battle of mid here. Army's plus 17.5. They might just be that bad, but a triple option team catching that many points against a K-State team that's shown they might lose to anybody, color me intrigued. Vandy at Vatek. Yuck. We saw what Vatek was. Maybe they get revenge for last year. Pavia. Who knows? BC at Michigan State. Kind of think Michigan State wins that game, but that's more because I'm down on Boston College. The night games. UCLA at UNLV. That could be a fun one. UCLA just got obliterated by Utah. Utah looked fantastic, but should be a situation where their athletes are just better, but they're laying less than a field goal. Could get interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, I would agree. That would be could be an interesting game.
The night slate's not very good, just looking at the schedule, because we've kind of run through all the night games, and there's just not a good one in sight.
Does this line look interesting to you? Arizona State, Mississippi State.
Yes.
6.5.
Yes.
That's an interesting line there.
Sign me up for the dogs, please. I'll take Mississippi State.
Interesting.
I took them last year and they lost at Arizona State. Let's try it again, huh?
Oh, jeez.
And then we do have a nightcap. We've got Hawaii kicking off at 11 p.m. our time. How about that? They're playing Sam Houston,
There
who
we go.
has not been within 3 scores of anybody to start the year. They're 0-2. So Micah Alejado, their lefty, the quarterback for Hawaii, got hurt against Arizona last week. Had his foot wrapped up. Don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't play, they might lose that game. But it is just refreshing to see an 11 p.m. kickoff on our board again. Just good to see. We love Hawaii.
Can you find? I can't find a line on Georgia Austin Peay.
Yeah, we won't get one till later because it's an FCS school. They don't put those lines out until later.
Interesting.
If I had to guess, it'll be like 50.
I would be intrigued because I think Austin Peay looked pretty dang good last week.
They only beat Middle Tennessee, right?
Yeah, they only beat Middle Tennessee when I think they were 14-point underdogs to win that game.
They were. And did you see the Kirby stat that as a favorite, granted they've won all these games, but as a favorite of more than 38 points, he's 0-14 against the spread after not covering against Marshall last week.
There we go. Well, hey,
He just
you know what?
be trying stuff out there.
Hey, at least he beat Marshall because some
did.
teams let Marshall come into their home place and beat the crap out of them. So,
Marcus Freeman.
I still have nightmares about that one. How Oklahoma State, Oregon?
I think Oregon waxes them.
Is it a beatdown? An absolute beatdown from hell?
I think that there's a talent difference.
100%. Is it 28.5 point difference?
I took 27.5, so yeah. I would take that too. Also, Reed is offended by your pronunciation of Austin P.
Yeah, Austin P. I kind of like PA instead, but
I mean, they did win, so I do have to put a little bit of respect on their name, but only a little. And honestly, because Scotty Walden, who's now the coach at UTEP, recruited me while he was at a much smaller school than that, and I do like him. So, and he did coach at Austin P. So that's about the only reason why I know they exist. Notre Dame off this week. Texas plays Coach Ken in San Jose. Other notables, I think we've covered about them all. So this is going to be our off week in the slate, which is kind of nice. And then we load up for a big week the following week with A&M going to Notre Dame. We've got some conference games in the SEC as well. So
LSU,
really looking forward to that. Yeah.
There's some really good games in week 3. And then we get slated to watch in week 4, we get slated to watch Alabama play 5 straight top 25 teams in a row. Yeah. So it's
time to find out who they are.
The slope's going to get slippery. It's going to get slippery quick.
That's right. Well, unless you have anything else, I'm kind of tapped out here. I think we've it's good to be back though. I will say we kind of burnt ourselves out there for a minute going so many pods, but I think when we get on we'll get on the Sunday night schedule, get back in the routine. I think we're going to be in good shape here. I'm looking forward to these Sunday nights. We'll have the NFL game on the background, just some background noise and just recapping the weekend of the slate. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic season.
Yeah, I agree. And it's good because I'll go to Best Buy this week and go get a new computer because that computer needs to go in the garbage. So.
Hey, the one you've got right now is absolutely working though. It's a workhorse over there.
This computer's doing great. This new one that I've picked up is much better. But I'll be running to Best Buy this week and making sure that we get a new computer.
Oh, we're in good shape. All right, G. It was good to see you again. I'll get to see you in a couple weeks at Dalton's golf tournament too. We'll get to go play a little scramble. By the way, shot 79 yesterday. Made a birdie on 18.
There you go.
So not bad. That course was a cracker box, though. I will say it was so tight. Like I only hit 4 drivers the entire day.
Oh, geez.
I hit more 4 irons off the tee than I hit drivers.
I thought you were going to tell me you were hitting the U all day. That's what we need to say.
Well, I did hit the U a fair bit. Don't get me wrong. I
Right
mean,
there at the U.
Jeremy Shockey is always open and over the middle. So,
There you go. There you
but
go.
it was not quite Ozarks National where you could just beat driver all over the planet and you could go find it. No, there were trees and waters all over the place. It was a problem. So we were in play though. 79, good number.
That's a
Good
great
number.
That's a great number. I hit irons really well yesterday, and I drove the green on 18 and was 7 feet by the hole. On
I saw that. I saw that on God, whose story? Oh, it was Elijah's story. Yeah.
Yep. I was like
How about
7
that?
or 8 feet by the hole. I still didn't make eagle, but that's not important. Birdies. I'm never
Birdie
going.
will work. Hey, drive for show. That's what we're after. You pop it on the green on 18. Yeah, you get to walk up there, tip the hat to everybody. You're in good shape.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Good deal, man. We'll go ahead and get out of here on that. That way we can get to the rest of our nights. I know you've got in-laws over, so we'll let you go entertain the crowd, shall you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Sunday we'll get a time out there. We'll figure it out. But sometime during the Sunday night football game, we'll recap the week that was. So let's do it then. Until then, peace out.